We are live, not in Nigeria, not in Canada, but in the UK and in Barcelona. So we are two entrepreneur, unapologetic women, me on the scale, you kick ass, and we're here with Mutiat. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me on your show, Jessica. I'm really, really, pleased to be here. Thank you.
Mm,
Lovely.
I love your accent. It's like you're 20 years in the UK, but with the Nigerian in it.
Well, yeah,
Lovely.
Nigerians well, for me, Nigeria always, I will be Nigerian anyway. Anyway,
Yes.
you can't take that away from.
What's the saying? You can take a Nigerian out of Nigeria, but you can't take the Nigerian out of a Nigerian, right?
Yeah,
So
okay.
I lived in Egypt when I was 24 for a
Oh,
year, and I played soccer, football,
oh,
and most of the guys were Nigerians, and I was like, "What is this energy?" like, not like a sexual energy, naturally, just like this like energy. I'm like, I've never met anyone like that in Canada before. Like, what's going on here? And then I learned a little bit about.
oh,
Um,
no.
well, what's it like to whatever this is how it's translated. And I think if we're entrepreneurs and we don't have some of, we won't survive. What's your experience with corporates coming over to the dark side?
Okay, yes. The thing is, personally, I started as a broadcaster and I was a timid, shy broadcaster. Then um, I would only speak behind the microphones and all of those things. And once I'm out of the studio, that's it. I'm a quiet, shy, very apologetic at that point. And then I
Okay.
moved on to another career, and I was doing good, public relations. I was okay, I ticked those boxes, being humble, not being able to speak, but I was respected because I knew what I was doing,
Mhm.
as a corporate professional.
Mhm.
Um, but at the point I started speaking up for myself, I realized that, even though I knew what I was doing, I wasn't, I was respected, but I was not recognized.
Two R's. Mhm.
So I decided at some point something has to change. And that
Mhm.
was when I started thinking about my entrepreneurship
Okay.
journey because I
Mhm.
knew that I could be more and do more, when I can really spread my wings. Okay,
Mhm.
so I moved into entrepreneurship. But the thing was, when I started in entrepreneurship, I retained the traits that I had that I was carrying with me from corporate, seeking permission, you
Mhm.
know, um, almost pleading to speak in the rooms that I paid to be in.
Yeah.
Those sort of things, not really raising my voice and owning my space. But
Mhm.
something changed at some point. Whilst you're doing that and you're wondering, what is it that I am doing that is not okay? Why am I not getting the traction, the leads, the applause? I went into a conference one day and we were talking about something, but I had the secret idea in my mind about how I could, be a part of the project and what I could do. But those thoughts and ideas remained in my mind until somebody in there spoke exactly what I was thinking about. And the way they spoke about it, I could have even explained it further. I could give it so much flesh. I could give
Mhm.
it, all the
Mhm.
intricacies. I could explain everything. And she got the applause, she got the clients, she got, the looks and the connections. And I was like, oh my God, why
Mhm.
did I not say it? And I know that this happens to many people. Many times
Mhm.
you're thinking about it, you have the idea, but you get there, you can't talk about it. And that was when I said, you know what? I am going to be speaking out, and not just in conferences. Anywhere that I go, I am going to speak my idea, even if there's going to be judgment. And
Mhm.
I started to change things. I started to post more, to own my voice, own my space. Believe in the things that I know that's going on
Mhm.
in my mind that I know that I could actually make to come to life at some point. So it's about us believing in ourselves as an
Mm.
entrepreneur. If you want to become an entrepreneur, you want to take that leap, you know you're meant for more, you know you can do more, you can be more. Believe in those intuition, believe in those ideas coming through you. You know, the things
Mm.
coming, believe in yourself, believe
Mm.
in your, you know, intuition, believe in in your dreams, what you want to achieve, your goals, believe in those things. And number one thing is self belief. Because if you do not believe in yourself, if you don't believe in the things that you hold through within you, no one else will do. So it starts from conviction, self conviction. Be
Mm.
convinced about the things that you know that are true for you, where you
Mhm.
want to see yourself in the next year, in the next 6 months. You got to be believe in those things. You have to believe in them. Okay. And with your self belief and conviction, you can then own your space, own your voice. You know,
Yeah.
so that's where it starts. So I actually blamed myself at that point, and I was like, okay, you know what? And looking around, you see, when you're in conversations with people, when you look around people, it's not because they necessarily know better than you or can do it better. It's just because they have the confidence to spill out what's within them.
Mm.
And
Mm.
the more they do that, you know, repetition brings about recognition. When you repeat it, you
Mm.
say it and you say it, people then begin to recognize you for that thing you've been saying over time. And that's how brands are built, right? You
Mm.
continue to show up consistently, you know, having that message, consistent messaging. You know, just be consistent and be clear with your messaging, and people will grasp what you're talking about. So it's basically, and that is how you become unapologetic, because the more you show up, the more you're visible, the more you're convinced and you believe in yourself, the more your confidence grows.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's the thing. And you know, confidence really helps you accomplish as much. And when you begin to accomplish those things, like, you know, you're being known, you're being called to speak upon, or you about something, or you're able to speak about your thing, you begin to own your space, your confidence grows, your self-belief grows, and you then take you forward from there. So basically, these are the things you need to have as an entrepreneur, or you're looking at transitioning from corporate to
Mm.
entrepreneurship. It has to be bold within you. You know, it has to be bold within you. Real entrepreneurs don't wait for the crown to be put on them. They get thrones, you know,
You got
that's
the jewels on your head.
oh,
Crown yourself, right?
thank you. You know, you have to build your own throne, not wait for anybody.
So self-belief, listen to that voice inside of you, and then make a decision to speak it,
To
because
speak.
you won't get the confidence because you won't get called because you don't have the recognition yet.
Exactly,
So
yeah.
the first thing is hearing the voice and believing that it has value. And
Exactly.
then opening your mouth and having the boldness to open your mouth, because you might not have the confidence yet. So
Yeah.
self-belief comes before confidence. Is
Oh,
that what
yes.
I said?
Yes. You have to believe first.
Hmm. Uh, so I just read bet on yourself. Ooh, and he made a move.
That's
Ooh,
it. That's it. That's it.
nice. Make the move. So that's a great image. You had that. You heard the other woman get all the credit for the same idea that you had even better in your head. And
Yeah.
then it's like you have to decide, you have to make the move that you no longer keep yourself quiet, because no one
Exactly.
can force you to speak. You have to
Exactly.
literally grab the mic and trust that what you're going to say is going to be okay. Hmm.
Exactly. Even if there's going to be judgment, say it anyway.
Mm.
Because once you spell it, once you say it, it's heard. You can refine it for another day, but
Mhm.
at least you've said it, you've seen the
Yeah,
reaction, you've probably got the feedback on how
yeah.
to make it better, because that is how we grow. We have to grow and evolve in whatever we're doing in entrepreneurship. You know, in you being better, in you being bolder, you've got to get the feedback. You need it to learn, you need it to grow, you need it to,
Mhm.
to just get better, to improve. So speak it. Whether they're going to judge you, whether they're going to laugh, speak it and see the reaction. Speak it and see what people says about it, what people say about it.
Mhm.
So you don't want to be the best kept secret,
Oh, that's so
So
cute.
yeah.
On the grave, what is it called? The tomb. Best kept secret.
So
Humble, right? Because religion taught us to be, I don't,
exactly.
religion in North America, it was a little bit different than our British ancestors, but it was like humble women don't speak.
That's it.
And
That's
I don't know, did could you share a little bit about you as a Nigerian woman moving to the UK, and you didn't have that unapologetic energy straight away. So
no.
I would love to know. My husband is half Nigerian, and I went to Abuja in May, and the way you speak is how I see Nigerian women speaking. And did you speak like this with this passion? Was that how all Nigerian women speak, or did you really have to learn to
Do
express
you,
passion well?
do you know what? When you say the way Nigerian women speak, you know what? When I was in Nigeria, I was learning to be a Nigerian woman because I wasn't bold. And I see women in Nigeria really bold. I see, then, quite young ladies my age, bold. They talk like Nigerians can be really unapologetic. They spit it out, right? I was the shy one. I
Okay.
wasn't talking. I was I was the quiet, humble, shy
Hmm,
girl. But I had
hmm,
to earn it when I needed it for my livelihood, when I needed to pivot, So I
hmm,
learned it over time. I evolved as I grew as a woman, as I grew into
hmm.
entrepreneurship, as I grew into holding up to my responsibility. So, yeah.
Responsibility. Well, that's interesting. Tell me a little bit more about how you feel about responsibility and the connection to speaking up.
Oh, yes, because, it gets to a point when you know that you either have a plan A that is great or a plan B together that you have to fine tune, or you don't have no way at all.
Hmm,
So, understanding that I had to find a way to support my family more, and I didn't want to be in a toxic corporate because. As I said, I at a point I had to speak to myself. I'm not sure we have the time to
hmm,
talk about that. I was at work and I fell, I collapsed. I had to be taken to the hospital
oh,
because I was, in burnout doing two
hmm,
people's job and all of those things. And even whilst in hospital, they were asking me, Mutiat, when do you think you're going to be back at work? What's going on? So
oh,
at that point, after, months of recovery, I had to say, something has to change. I spoke for myself. As I told you, I was respected for what I did, but I knew that I wasn't really recognized. And at a
hmm,
point, I knew that I could do more, I could be better, I could hold on to what I know, being, my boss,
hmm,
directing my life and holding on to my destiny. And then gradually, I moved and transitioned into entrepreneurship. And at that point, there is no turning back. What do
hmm,
you want to do? So you have, and that was when I was attending conferences, learning, knowing, and then somebody spoke up my idea. I said, no, you know what? You have to do something. So one of those, when you get to that point where you know that it's either you make this one better, this one that you have currently, you make it better, or you go back to where you don't want to be. So you had to make the decision of what do I want to do? Going forward, I want to make what I have now better, not even after knowing that your ideas are well, they're worth it. People get applause for the same thing that you know. So you
hmm,
begin to
hmm,
understand that yes, you have essence, you have something valuable to share. So that's it. I had to like make that move and say, yes, I'm going forward with what I believe in.
hmm. And are you able to analyze? I'm a therapist, so I like to think about like socialization and cultural differences and that. And I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but are you able to analyze what you didn't have while you're living in Nigeria as being a shy Nigerian, which I'm sure there are shy Nigerians. I just never have met them because you don't hear them, right? At conferences. They're the ones listening. So I tend to meet the louder ones. And what the young women that are extremely bold have that you think that we can just get a lot younger, or is there a habit that you could say to the 20, 30-year-old women out there, do this much earlier than I did? Is there something practical that you did?
Exactly. Own your voice earlier than I did. Like you have got to speak up. Don't be shy. As I said it, I was like people will say, "Oh, shy girl." They kind of make you feel, "Oh, you're the good girl. That's fine." But you know what? You are losing opportunities. As I said when I was in broadcasting, I believe even till now that I did not make the most of the opportunities
Mm,
there
mhm,
because I couldn't really stand out and show what I extensively had within me, the talent, the skills. So you've got to speak out. Like you
mm,
have got to own your space.
mhm,
Own
mhm.
your space. Believe in yourself. There's going to be judgment anyway. Not everybody speaking out has the essence to give, really. Not everybody, but if you know that you have, because being the loudest in the room does not necessarily make you the most valuable person in the room,
Just
right?
makes you a man. Huh?
But the thing is, if you know you've got something, if you believe in yourself, if you have an idea, a goal to achieve, believe in it and speak it, spread it. No one's going to help you. Your helper is never going to come if they don't know that you have, something they can help you with. So
Mm,
it's a matter of being able to be visible with the ideas that you have, wanting to show up for yourself, show
mm,
up for yourself in whatever capacity that is, whether that is, promoting yourself online, if you've got good ideas, if you've got product ideas you want to bring to the world, or bring to life, speak about it, promote it, talk to people about it. If you have opportunities to go to meetings, to go to conferences, talk about what you know. Talk,
yeah.
talk, talk, promote, be visible. I wasn't there. And that
Mm,
is what I want the young woman to do now, the young
mm,
lady to do. I wasn't there. I was even so shy to go and get my first working award to say, oh, the promising staff of the year. I was too shy to go to the stage to do that. For
mm.
goodness sake. I don't want girls to be like that. I
No.
don't want women to be like that. I want ladies to be like that. I want you to be unapologetic. Accept and embrace yourself in all your totality. Like, love yourself, believe in yourself, just hold on to what you have, and you continue to grow and evolve. So, like, when I first started on Facebook, because my friends were there, I couldn't even post things. I was like,
Mm.
do you know that? Those, like, now I told, some friends, like, I can just spill anything. Like, if I believe in it, if I know it, I say it. What's my business what you think about it? It's none of my business. Like, why would I care? That's your stuff. Deal with it. So, oh, goodness.
God, I love it. Yeah. And the way you speak. All right. And I'm not disappointed at all. I knew you'd speak with this power, this humor, this unapologetic thing. That's obviously why I invited you. And I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of that. Do you know Toastmasters?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. So all of my friends come from that world because we're all entrepreneurs and we have to learn how to
Yeah.
be seen and be heard. And if you don't speak well, and if you're not engaging and you're not funny and you're not passionate, which we're not trained how to be those things in normal life. Americans, yes. I'm Canadian a little bit, right? So if you don't know how to do those things, go learn them because no one's going to listen to you if you're not those things.
Exactly.
It's actually quite simple to becoming heard and seen is you talk and look what people want to look and listen to. I don't know if
That's
that
it.
follows
That's
any
it.
medical sense, but go learn those skills. It's not brain surgery, right? So
Yes, go learn. Like I told you, I know Toastmasters. Like, I've learned to be a speaker from someone who couldn't speak to individual people or speak in a group to speaking to the public. Like, speaking
yeah,
on stages, I learned it. I had to learn it
yeah,
anyway
learn
because
it.
I needed it for my business, and I'm still evolving. I'm still growing. I'm still learning.
So
Yes.
we can learn to be unapologetic. We can learn to be good speakers. We can learn to believe in ourselves. Nothing in the past determines anything that we are now. It's just like decide and step and make the move, as C said, right?
You can learn to be whoever you want to be. And
Mm,
learning for anyone should be a lifelong thing. We
mm,
continue to learn, we continue to evolve, we continue to want to know, to improve, to
mm,
be better, because we can
mm,
always be better at whatever we do or whatever
mm.
we want to achieve. We can always grasp it. So learning is important for anyone who's ready to grow and make things happen in their lives in the world. Yeah, we continue to
Mm,
learn. It's
grow.
a good journey.
It flew by. That's our 20 minutes. And I don't really even have any more questions because it's just so it's just so damn clear. It's just like that, that's the secret ingredient where people spend their whole lives being like, I'm not good. I'm not making fun of them. I'm not good enough because I've been there. And it's the action that changes it. You can live forever and I'm not good enough. Wait, great. Waste another 20 years of your life doing that and keep complaining about it. But somehow, if you know about Toastmasters, in my opinion, and you know therapy exists, and you know meditation exists, and you know that the internet exists, there's really no excuse to cry for another 5 years about anything. You know, there's
Exactly. The thing is, understanding that you will not be perfect. You don't have to be. You will not
no.
know, but you are ready to seek help
Yeah,
when you need it. Be
yeah,
open to
yeah.
seeking help. And again, it's part of speaking out. You have issues, you have problems. Learn to be maybe part of a group or speak to someone that you see doing what you want to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
Approach them. At least approach them and hear what they're going to say.
We are
You know,
approachable, aren't we? There you go.
exactly. So yeah, so it's about, not sitting down in your, I mean, you will do that forever. If, like I tell people, even in my private life, like, I don't do pity parties. Things will happen. I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, what am I going to, no. What's the next thing? What am I going to do to manage this situation? That's it. We'll move on. We're not going to sit down, whimpering, and no, we don't do that.
We don't weep, no?
We
Well,
don't know.
I weep a lot, but my dream is to be called a strong African woman. When that's on my tombstone, I know I've achieved a good life because coming from entitled Western like in Canada, it's too easy. It didn't develop any of this like real resilience. The timer's going off. I'm going to say goodbye. I have a Nick's interview in 5 minutes, so thank you
Okay. Thank
so
you
much.
so much. It's been lovely speaking to you on your
It
show.
was a pleasure. Thank you so much. We'll see you on LinkedIn, girl.
Bye for now. Yeah.
Bye.